Keycard presents Back Issue Bloodbath with your hosts, Andrew Young and Petula Neal.
Finally, a comic that tells it like it feels, or doesn't feel. Welcome to Back Issue Bloodbath. I'm Andrew Young.
I'm Petula Neal.
And we're hooked on a feeling that today's show is going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be something.
Just as long as you haven't lost that love and feeling, we'll be good. Because the book today that we're doing is Far Sector, which does deal a lot with feelings and emotions. Written by N.K. Jemisin, with art and colors by my favorite current artist, Jamal Campbell. So, Petula, tell us what Far Sector is all about.
Space cops?
I mean, but it's more than that.
Sorry, listener. So here's the thing. If you had never read any Green Lantern comics, you could read this one. It's connected, yet probably one of the most disconnected. But it is essentially, if you strip it down to the wood, to the will, it's a space cop story. But it is so much more than that. And yet I did read it thinking there are different segments of the population that could read this from a very different POV and still enjoy the story, but take very different things from it. So let's start with the most accessible layer, which is we have a Green Lantern story and we set it somewhere else in a faraway city, in a faraway place that's set in like a Dyson kind of clump, not a straight up Dyson sphere. And you have different kind of organics and inorganics that run this society. And they got assigned a space cop. And then there's some political upheaval. And it's basically kind of like a Law and Order situation.
Yeah.
They literally have a moment where they're like, it's not a whodunit, but it's 100% a whodunit. And you sort of get that from the first couple of issues. And, there's going to be some political intrigue. There's going to be a few like, oh, we think it's this person or this reason. And it's really that, yada, yada, yada. Space cop grows and helps the society grow. And that's that.
Yeah.
That's like, and it does that very well. So if you like that sort of, let's take an element of a character from the Justice League, twist it a little, put it far away so they can do whatever they want. And because it's a different character in a different setting, it doesn't affect any of the main canon or any of the main stuff, but you get to enjoy like ring powers. Awesome. However, what happened was, because of the creators of this, N.K. Jemisin and Jamal Campbell, N.K. Jemisin being like multi-Hugo award winning, some would like just slap the Afrofuture, definitely sort of sci-fi writer.
The most celebrated fantasy sci-fi writer currently right now.
Yeah. This is some of the most blackety black stuff I've ever read. It is. It is. And I started reading the series at a time, listener. We know all what's been going on the past couple of years. So when I read it, it felt like exactly what I needed then. But rereading it now, I was like, oh goodness, this is just good stuff. And it takes names and imagery from everything in the diaspora, from like historical characters. Each issue sort of starts with a pull quote from either political activists or writers. You got some Zora Neale Hurston happening in here. You have the main characters literally named, well, her nickname is Jo, but her first full name is Sojourner, as in Sojourner Truth, the woman born into slavery who escaped and freed her children and like was the first Black woman to win a case against a white man, and like, ain't I a woman, all of that, like that's who this character is named after. You have imagery that evokes Morpheus in the Matrix. You have literally her calling one of the bougie Black politicians, or Black presenting to us, but still one of the people from this planet, because she's the alien, not them, calling him like Siditi, which is like the other word we have for calling somebody bougie. As I'm reading this, rereading this, I was just, this is some real blackety black stuff. Like, is this DC? Is this happening right now? So we know DC has a back and forth history with Black people. So I don't know how this one really got past the goalie.
You got to remember, it's part of the Young Animal imprint, which basically Gerard Way is kind of given carte blanche to produce the comics he wants to produce. And he wanted to work with NK, and he said to her, I want you to do a story about a Green Lantern in a faraway sector off in parts of space we haven't seen before. And I want the story to be about the isolation of being alone. Go nuts.
Yeah.
And as soon as she was given that premise, it was like everything fell into place for her and exactly what she wanted to say. Building, political intrigue, having a murder mystery that's not really a murder mystery, but is kind of important. Basically talking about various rights and the views of what's considered a viable source, a person, like actual person's human rights and everything like that. All that stuff there just kind of just came to her and built this tapestry of like a really deep story that comes out of, as you said, just the space cop tale,
Yeah. Also, yeah, it could also
and
be perceived.
there's actually also commentary about governing bodies, peacekeeping missions. There's a lot of stuff, like we say it's a space cop story, but it's just as much a story about a soldier as well.
Yeah. It's propaganda in its purest form.
Mm.
The backstory that NK gave Joe is inspired to, enlist by 9/11, like so many people, like actual real people that I have met, like from the United States, and then became a police officer. This is the story of like one of the good apples. So saw something terrible happen at work, spoke up, was then let go. And then her reward / forever penance for knowing the right thing, but not doing it soon enough, was getting enlisted, recruited for the Green Lantern Corps. So it is also propaganda written by a Black woman. Like it's just, this is a real mind trip, y'all. There's as many levels to this as there were fields of play in their sort of take on the space chess, their version of stratagema that they had, where it was like, looked like 5 different kind of angles on the table. There are so many layers in this. It's a lot. So you could just read it for the story, and depending on your background and your POV and what your influences are, you could get whatever you want out of this and still enjoy it. But there are some layers on this stuff. And then on top of it, it just has the whole feeling that I often have as a Black lady queer in IT. It's you are other, because the whole point of this society, the main difference, aside from being, space sphere's place, no emotions. So there was a burn, there was a whole revolution. They almost destroyed their society. They decided, you know what? Emotions are,
yeah. 3 different sentient races on 3 separate collection of planets. They ended up finding out about each other. They went to war, which of course, if you think back to the history of Earth, about countries fighting about other countries, well, obviously we got to go to war. They just, of course, they destroyed everything, and the survivors all ended up on the same planet because it's out in the middle of deep space. There's nowhere else to live. So as you said, they got rid of emotions. A decree was made. It's all made by one guy, and people just went along with it and went, listen, the main reason why we hurt each other is because we felt too much and we let our emotions control us. We're going to put this thing called the emotion exploit into our DNA, and our generations to come will be born with it, and we will be logical because we will have no emotion. So it was like a step further than the Vulcans, who just decided to push down emotions. They went, no, we're going to put in like a chip in our whole structure so that we'll never feel anything.
But, with a desire for revenge or irrational hate towards others, you also then lose empathy, which kind of becomes a problem. Yeah. So that whole part of the story, and then the one of the main differences with our character, because she's human, she's got emotions. So they assigned the space cop that is uniquely different in so many ways, and will always feel othered, and even people who can relate, because there's I would say there's like kind of a B plot, but it's there's a lot of plot in this, where there's a drug that basically allows you to switch off the emotion dampener in the DNA. So except for a few people who can empathize with her secretly, she is also alone in having emotions and having to deal with them, regulate them, and suppress them, and not show them, so as not to startle the people around her. Black ladies, can you hear me? Is this every day at work for you? Is this every day in the world? So it's there. When I say there are levels to this, there are levels to this. This is, and I haven't even gotten to how it looks, Good Lord. We know sometimes I go on about the fit, the character's look. This woman uses the ring the way I would use the Green Lantern ring every day. She's looking snatched. Imagine if you gave Chloe and Halle Bailey Green Lantern rings and said, dress up however you want. You can change it based on like where you are, what room you're going into, who you're fighting, or for them, what you're singing. Imagine the looks, y'all. That is what she is bringing. There was like, oh, the cute little hat with the cape move that she did, sort of. I forget which issue it was in. It's like, just ease up, lady. Can you stop looking so fabulous all the time? And then her at-home chill modes with the scarves and like just like the loose twist out. It's just, and the art style is some of the crispiest stuff I've seen in a minute. It is not only giving you that futuristic edge with the style and the clean, but it's so populated and dense. The density is the point. It is a lot. And we've talked about this before with writers who come from either like a film or a book background. Often it's a little too wordy and dense, especially in the world building in the beginning. 100% that is a thing that is happening here.
There are a lot of words. Yep.
But instead of easing back on the imagery, Jamal's like, oh, my crayons. And just comes in with a thickness. So it's like heavy image on heavy words. So around sort of like the 6th issue, when like most of the world building is established, it does ease up a little. And I do like the device of her internal monologue is like the sort of green overlay. So, like you have an easy visual way to know like what she's thinking versus what people are saying. It is, the font's a little small for my old lady eyes. This is definitely one that, while I would want a special edition kind of for my shelf, I needed the digital, y'all. Like it's some of the text is tiny AF. How were your eyes with the text on this?
My eyes were okay, but I can totally see that. Yeah, it's kind of small. Yeah, Deron Bennett did the lettering for this, and I think when they looked at the script and what had to go on each page, went, oh, I got to make this really small to make it all fit so we don't cover up too much art. And not a lot of art is covered up, but there's a hell of a lot of words. So I think it was a direct choice on the density of the words that Duran went with such a small font for the lettering. But yeah, I can see anybody who has a little bit of eye trouble will have trouble with these words because they are very small. But Jamal Campbell, aside from just being the artist on this, is also the colorist, and his stuff, just like the synergy of his stuff and the fact that he's able to give such distinct looks to these 3 different races. Now, these are very distinctly different races. There's the Kentapi, which is like, they're like plants. They're like people, sentient plant people. Then there's the At, which are completely digital, a digital society, and actually has to manifest themselves in holographic imagery to interact with the other races. And then there's the Na, who is the most like the humans for the most part. And they look the most like Joe, and Joe kind of fits in with them. And Joe spends most of her non-work time usually with Na people.
Oh, she has a digital assistant.
She has a digital assistant, but I'm saying like most of the people she interacts with when she's not working.
And Bones.
And Bones as well. But really, that's the thing. It's like, that's the only one she could bone out there, because the Kentapi just want to eat her because they like eating flesh.
Yeah, it's a compliment and not a come on when Kentapi says, I bet you taste delicious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very much like he's just saying, yeah, we used to eat humans. Like we used to eat humanoid people. And then of course the AT-ATs are digital type form people. So of course nothing there. But yeah, the two of the main Na characters that we see both have extreme sexual tension with Joe throughout the entire story. And it leads to a few things, definitely. And yeah, you talked earlier about the design and everything looking for. It's like, yeah, Joe is definitely the kind of woman that I think anybody could have sexual tension with, like anybody.
Absolutely. It's just, there's one panel where she's just, casually opening a door in tank top, and her back is just, it's not like superhero muscled. It's just like when you see someone on the street that is not just maybe spends a lot of time at the gym, but also just does something in their life that requires like repeated kind of physical action. And just this one little panel of her back, and it's like, good Lord, woman.
Yeah,
Just,
it's a nice back. It's a nice back. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like
yeah.
reading this book, and it's like the way that certain characters react to her. Like, these are people without feeling, you know, and the way they react to her are still kind of like, even not having the feelings, there's still the sexual tension there. She's also, on top of that, though, like such an interesting character to watch, because we talked about it before, that she joined the Green Lantern Corps, but it was almost like she was brought in as an experiment
And the first and the only.
Yeah.
Again, Black ladies, can you feel me?
Yeah. And her ring is not like any other Green Lantern ring, because it doesn't need a power battery to charge. You think, oh, that's great, it runs all the time. No, it self-charges, but it takes a long time to build up a charge. So when you use it up, if you use it all up, it may take days for you to get the power back. And so the entire time she's got the additional stress of, okay, I'm trying to like break up this riot here, or I'm trying to, you know, catch this bad guy. I could lose power at any minute. And there's certain situations that if she tries, like if she does lose power, she is going to die because of where she is.
Yeah. Even her whole approach to flying, she's thinking about it. Like, we know the whole thing with the ring is about will, but actually following along with a lantern while they're having to think and focus on the flying of it all, when with most of the lanterns we've seen, if anything, that seems like the easiest bit. Like, they just sort of point their fist and take to the skies and sort of move through space and whatever. Yeah.
And it's like, it's because the other lanterns, like your basic Green Lantern has no fear. That's the whole reason why they've been giving you, they have willpower and they have no fear. In this kind of thing that makes Jo different is that she has fear, but her whole thing is trying to figure out how to channel that fear and figure out why she has the fear, and it helps her be a better lantern. So again, totally different. Whereas like a regular lantern, you know, they jump into the air and go, I'm going to fly now. They don't really have to think about it because they're not afraid of anything. So they just go, yeah, I can fly, and they fly away. Whereas Jo, as you mentioned, has to think about it the entire time, because it's like, well, you know, because it's like actually looking at it as any regular human would, in the sense that, well, I can't just do this. Like, I have to work something to make that happen. And so you see that with her. And yeah, it's such an interesting take on a Green Lantern, because all the things that the other lanterns and the writers of other Green Lantern books get to take for granted, that here doesn't come easy.
Yeah.
So once again, another parallel.
And you do see that she definitely has to take that downtime. So once we sort of have that establishing issue, it's almost every issue where we do see at home time, where she's just got, you know, scarf on, her hair in a protective style, lounging around, but also working the other part of her, like the space cop part of her, and talking about the case, doing investigation, boning the odd hot person. But it's like, it's all part of the solving of the whodunits as we move through the story. But it shows that mix between what she was, even on Earth, was just, you know, somebody solving crime, somebody trying to make the society that they live in better.
And continually being disillusioned by the system.
Disappointed. Yeah. The system and everyone that she meets, people
So
that she thinks are allies.
You go all the way out to the far sector space and deal with it all again. You know, it's like the pattern that she's unfortunately stuck in. Yeah.
Yes. Being sent out as an officer to help calm down a protest, but then also hearing the order to fire on civilians and not being able to protect people.
Yeah.
And wanting to go to the funerals, but the family doesn't want you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. This is a whole journey, and we're making it sound heavier. It's funny too.
Oh yeah, it's very funny, because like there's the AT-AT. AT-AT people are obsessed with memes from Earth. They love cat memes. They actually use cat memes as currency in the AT-AT society.
Yeah, there's a lot of humor in this. It does, the meme thing does end up having like a dark backstory as well. Yeah, sort of if we take the NFT kind of culture to the far extreme of what that could and probably will end up looking like.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's the thing. It's like the whole drug culture, consumer slavery, that stuff is all addressed in this.
Like so many of our selections, it's like, did we pick this because of? No, like literally, listener, when we were starting to build up our backlog of things that we may want to talk about in the store, this was originally on my I'm stockpiling stuff to suggest for, June, for when we do like rainbow people things. So I was like, oh, color lady queer, it's pretty, I'll put this on my like reading list. And then
Yeah.
it's a lot more than that. Like it
Yes.
is that too, but it is a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it's such a deep story. And you mentioned earlier about how Jamal kind of matched NK with the density of the work and how deep and rich and how the pages were full of everything. And like this world like kind of came to life. That was one of the things that Jamal was most excited about, was getting to build an entire planet and like really show every little nook and cranny, every detail. But the other thing that he was really excited about is that it's like, I get to create a new character for the DC universe again. It's my second time out with DC, and I get to once again create a new character for the universe back to back. And not a lot of artists get that opportunity. So he was really jazzed about that.
I mean, just what he does with the hair. Good Lord. I would love it if Jamal ever collaborated with a friend of the pod, Stephanie Williams, because they could do some great hair on some characters.
Yeah.
There's the politician with the dreads. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name because he's a pretty key character throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, Marth, I think is his name.
Yeah, his look is a fantastic. There's a shot where and I say shot because a lot of the panels are like very cinematic. He's in repose and he's prone, and just the way his dreads sort of, dance down his back. It is something. It is.
I like how you put that, prone. Yeah. Like, yeah, that's the perfect word for it. Yeah, prone.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's just some gorgeous art, and it is the kind of book where you could just go through for the visuals. If you wanted to do a whole cosplay party based on this world, you could have one of the most lit looking parties ever.
Yeah.
It's a world that I would love to visit again. These are all characters that I would love to see either more in this world or see them on other worlds.
Yeah. And it's interesting. The planet itself is called the City Enduring, which just means that it's like this one big city that's never ending. So it's always expanding and it's like huge, but at the same time, it's so claustrophobic because everything is like there.
Yeah. Including the sky. They paint the sky, what the sky looked like for the different peoples that inhabit this new world. So the remnants of these warring factions, the sky, much like your screensaver or your Apple TV, like aerial view, will flip every few cycles to have a different image show up to people if you're looking up at the sky, which is it's comforting, and to the people who have been availing themselves of the ability to switch off using the drug, also heartbreaking. It's like this fleeting reminder of what they used to see on their homeworld when they looked up.
The sci-fi element of them having this city enduring, but it's on like the rest of the planet's unstable in the sense that they have like large heat shields covering the city enduring. And if those heat shields dissipate, then everybody's fried to a crisp. It kind of had a Total Recall kind of feel to me, like go ahead and the people need air, that sort of thing. It's like that kind of had that thing. And, the class structure of it all, like how the certain races quietly control everything in the background when it's supposed to be equal. It was like, it's hard sci-fi and fantasy at the same time, which I thought and I know that that's something that NK is known for. But like to watch the run so perfectly parallel, because there's so many things in it that are fantastical, and then so many things that are, as we talked about it, parallels to our own life. When we say dense here, that's not a bad thing this time. That is like, there's so much in just 12 issues that it's like, it actually is like prime for rereading. You can get so much out of it every time you read it.
Yeah. And it has things and nods and winks for pretty much every sci-fi fan. As reading this, I was thinking, I'm spotting this now on the second time through, reminded of this. And I bet there's things I'm missing that I don't know about because I haven't watched or read all of the things.
Right.
And that's where you get really the reminder that both of these creators are just like fans of the genre.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole little mini kind of thing about coffee that it didn't twig as much the first time through, but because of some of the things that are happening in the Star Trek world, it's like, oh, it's like some Janeway energy. Like just always, once they whipped around the Deltacron, it took Homegirl a minute to get a reasonable approximation of coffee. Yeah. So if you think about what are the things you would really miss if you left Earth, if you had, you ended up on some cool tricked out planet and had a ring of will that you could make anything out of, but all you wanted was like a good cup of coffee, but just due to the organics available in the place that you're in, it's not possible. And anybody attempting to do it for you would just remind you of how much you actually want coffee, because all of their attempts were massive fails. Yeah. And it's like a page or two, but it's just like, oh man.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Janeway and her constant struggle. Where it was so easy for Picard, just tea Earl Grey hot, but Janeway could not get a good cup of coffee out there.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
My God. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, no, it's like there's a lot of great things in here, a lot of fun things, and then a lot of deep things. It's like there's so much there for the reader to digest and enjoy. It's definitely worth checking out. It's available in trade now, and of course, it's also available digitally. I want to thank Penguin Random House Canada for sending me a copy of Far Sector in trade paperback. And you can get it wherever comics are sold. Petula, we've come to the end of another back issue Bloodbath. Where can people find you?
At initiative.com, on Twitter at Obesacantavit, OBESACANTAVIT, and here with you.
And of course, you can find everything I do over at geekcardshow.com. Follow me on Twitter at geekcard. Follow this very show on Facebook at Back Issue Bloodbath, where if you forgot, we post the new episodes every Wednesday. And the easiest way for you to get those episodes is to subscribe to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, wherever you catch your pods. While you're there, please leave a 5-star rating and review, because it helps with the analytics. Because the more people that know, the further we go out into the far sectors of comicdom. Also, when you're done subscribing, I want you to go to a library. Go and check out an interesting book on history, or like, hey, maybe if there's things that you've read in Far Sector that you want more knowledge about, go to the library. Don't just check it out online. Go to the library, and while you're there checking out the book, say to the librarian, hey, Back Issue Bloodbath brought me here. And they'll be like, what's Back Issue Bloodbath? You're like, you should check it out. There we go.
Absolutely.
That's right. This has been Back Issue Bloodbath. I've been Andrew Young.
I've been Petula Neal.
Have yourself a good